Have you ever built a script in PineScript, felt really good about it, and then watched it just behave completely bizarrely on that live updating bar? If that sounds familiar, then you are in exactly the right place. We are about to pull back the curtain on the single most important and often misunderstood concept in all of PineScript, the execution model. Trust me, understanding this will change everything for you.
So why does this happen? It's a question every single PineScript developer asks. Your indicator looks absolutely perfect on all the historical data, but the second it hits the live market, it all goes haywire. Plots flicker, your alerts fire at totally the wrong time. It can seriously feel like your code is haunted. But here's the good news. You're not crazy, and your code probably isn't broken. The answer is hidden in a secret rulebook that governs exactly how and when your script actually runs.
And this is that rulebook. It's called the execution model. It's not just some boring technical detail. It's the fundamental law of the PineScript universe. Once you master this one concept, all that weird, erratic behavior won't just make sense. You'll finally have the power to build scripts that are truly reliable, predictable, and way more powerful.
All right, let's dive right in with the biggest secret of them all. This one idea is going to completely change how you look at your code, probably forever.
You heard that right. Your script is not a single program that just runs once and then stops. A better way to think about it is like this. Imagine a time-traveling accountant. They start at the very first bar on your chart, way over on the left. They run your entire script from top to bottom on that one bar, record all the results, and then they move one bar to the right and do the entire thing all over again. This just keeps repeating for every single bar on your chart, building up this history of calculations one step at a time.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. Our time-traveling accountant's job actually changes depending on where they are on the chart. Their entire process is completely different when they're working on past, closed bars compared to when they finally reach the current live bar that's forming right now.
For all those past bars, what we call the historical bars, the process is super simple, and most importantly, it's final. For each bar, the system gets the confirmed locked-in price data. It runs your script one time, and then it commits those results to memory, kind of like writing them down in permanent ink. This just repeats, bar by bar, in a really strict, predictable sequence.
And this slide just lays it all out perfectly. Think of the historical bars as that locked ledger. The entries are final, they're permanent. But when our accountant gets to the live, real-time bar, they switch from a pen to a notepad and pencil. Why? Because instead of running just once, your script now runs on every single price tick. Every calculation it makes is temporary, just penciled in, waiting for that final bell when the bar officially closes.
So how does it manage all those temporary calculations without getting confused? Well, it uses a process called rollback. Before every single new price tick comes in on that live bar, the system completely erases all the calculations from the previous tick. It's like our accountant wiping their notepad completely clean so they can recalculate everything with the newest price information, starting from a fresh, confirmed state. And that is the exact reason your plots flicker on the live bar.
Okay, so you might be thinking, wait a minute. If the script starts totally fresh on every bar, how on earth does something like a moving average even work? Right? How can it possibly remember the prices of the previous bars? Well, the answer lies in how the script stores its memory. The answer is something called series data. As our script executes bar by bar, it stores the results of key things like the close price or the output of a function like a simple moving average into a time series. This series is the script's memory. It's the accountant's finished bound ledger. So when you write something like close 1, you're just telling the accountant, hey, flip back one page in that ledger and tell me what you wrote down.
Now listen up, because this is probably one of the biggest traps for new developers. By default, any variable you create yourself has absolutely no memory. It gets reinitialized on every single bar. So if you create a simple counter like x equals 0, it will be 0 on the first bar, then it gets reset to 0 on the second bar, and reset to 0 on the third bar, and so on. It never actually accumulates. So how do we give our variables a memory?
Well, we use special keywords. With no keyword, as we just saw, a variable is amnesic. It resets on every bar. But look at the next row. Using the var keyword tells PineScript to initialize that variable only once on the very first bar of the charts, and then carry its value forward across all the following bars. This is the absolute key for things like running totals or state machines. And then there's var IP, which goes even a step further. It's totally immune to that rollback process on the live bar, so its value persists even between price ticks. And this leads us to a super important rule. Functions that need to look back at history, like a moving average, have to be executed on every single bar to keep their memory straight. If you stick a call to data.sma inside an if block, you're basically telling our accountant to just skip calculating it on some pages of their ledger. This creates gaps in its memory, and it leads to wildly incorrect results. Not just a little off, I mean completely wrong. Okay, phew, I know that was a lot. But now that you understand the rules of the game, the bar-by-bar execution, the two different phases, and how memory works, let's look at how to use this knowledge to avoid the most common mistakes that trip almost everyone up.
All right, here's a rapid-fire checklist of the big mistakes you can now avoid. Number 1, putting historical functions like ta.sma inside if blocks. We just saw how that breaks the memory chain. 2, forgetting to use the var keyword for your counters and totals, which causes them to reset on every bar. 3, trusting the plots on a live bar before it closes, totally forgetting about rollback. And 4, just assuming strategies and indicators execute the same way. Spoiler, they don't by default. All of these traps become so obvious once you get the execution model.
You know, this quote from the official documentation just says it all. Understanding the execution model isn't just a piece of trivia. It is the single most important investment you can make on your PineScript journey. I'm telling you, once this finally clicks, everything else just falls into place. So where do you go from here? How can you take all this new information and really make it stick? Well, here are a few practical steps you can take right now.
First, get your hands dirty. Experiment. Build a simple counter with and without that var keyword, and just watch the difference. Second, use the Pine Profiler. It will literally show you how many times each line of your code is being executed. Third, visualize the change. This is so cool. Use the BG color function to change your chart's background color when bar state.is real-time is true. You will see the exact moment your script switches from historical to real-time mode. And finally, of course, review the official docs to go even deeper on this stuff.
So there you have it. You now have the key. You understand the hidden rulebook that governs every single script on the platform. The mystery of the flickering erratic live bar, it's solved. So the only question left is, with this new clarity and this new power, what amazing things are you going to build next?